Yo, welcome to this week's video. So in this week's video we're going to be discussing my Elise, which we're in. Now when I first purchased it and the first video I did on it, I talked you through the car and everything like that and showed you the bits and pieces that were a bit tired, things that needed updating, changed, etc, things like that. But what I never mentioned and what a few eagle-eyed people online noticed is the car is actually a special edition. Now even the eagle-eyed people who noticed that it is a special edition have got some bits and pieces wrong to my knowledge. So what I thought would be a good video would be to go through the car, show you the differences from this car over a standard Elise, and also go through why the bits are correct on my car but why they may be different on another car. So without further ado, let's jump into it. And here we go. So it is worth saying that these cars came out around about the time of the internet just getting started, so breaking down all the information is actually quite difficult because I've read things online and then I've spoken to people who know the cars and have been around the cars, and they contradict what is online and things like that. So I'll go through and I'll talk about it all as we go. Also, this car, as far as I can make out, is a big favourite of Evo magazines. So I've got a couple of articles, so just to quote little. So with so few made, it's a rare and collectible car. Better still, the driving experience certainly warrants its reputation. And then they say, from the sublime Sport 135 I move on to, and then they go on to the next car. Another article says more powerful variants of the Elise emerged throughout its life, and one of our favourites is the Sport 135. So they clearly speak very highly of the car and always praise it whenever they're discussing it over the other variants and the other models that the Elise had. I think I know why when it comes to actual road driving, but like I said, let's go through, I'll tell you the differences and then I'll point those out as well as we go through the car. And this is how you can tell it's a Sport 135, because it has a badge. I'm only playing. Right, let's go through the differences. So the Sport 135 was released in two separate batches. So the first batch, which I believe was made in November 98, was all the same colour. I believe the second batch was, you could choose your colours, as I know there's some slightly different colours from the second batch. But anyway, the first batch was limited to 50 units, of which this is one of them. The second batch was 35 units. So the first 50 units, as far as I'm aware, these are the most desirable ones. They all came in the same colour, which is called Quicksilver. So basically it's a silver colour with a bluish tinge underneath. It also had headlamp covers on there as well, which at the time these had them, I think it was only the 190 that had maybe had them. I don't think the standard car did have them. It also had a blue roof, and then the Sport 135 decals down there on the side. Exterior wise, on the first batch, I believe that they're the only differences over the standard model. So obviously you can have, I think, a blue roof with the standard model. However, this colour was specific to the Sport 135, at least the first batch. And then I believe the second batch of cars, which was an additional 35 cars, had other differences. The second batch of 35 cars are referred to as the 99 135. So what you'll find on those ones, I believe you could get them in more colours than just this one. The decals here are slightly different. The fuel filler cap is black. The alloys and tyres were from the 111S, and then it's got a little European regulation spat here on the back for, I don't even know what they do, but they have those on as well. And I believe this is why people are getting confused over my car to that one, because they've seen the 99 and mine's one of the original 50. That it had the engine cover was made out of GRP. This is aluminium, this engine cover, and this is because, as far as I'm aware, I think the GRP engine cover came in, or fiberglass engine cover came in at around about the same time that they were making the second batch of the Sport 135s. So that's why the first one doesn't have it, but I think the second one does. Interior wise, and I've read quite a lot online that people seem to think that these seats are the most comfortable seats that came in the Elises. So upgraded sport seats, so Corbu, obviously these need a retrim. I'm going to do it soon. They're going to get taken out and sent away. I'm going to wait for the weather to change a little bit first of all though, so I'm not wanting to use the car as much. They had a different steering wheel as well, which isn't this steering wheel. I've showed it in another video. Again, that needs to get sent away and retrimmed. But I do like this steering wheel, so I'm just leaving this on for the time being. And then also a silver roll hoop. So as far as I'm aware, all Elises have a black roll hoop except for the Sport 135, which has a silver one. And I think they're pretty much all the exterior differences from the cars over the standard ones. So let's move on to the good bit. So like I said, this has an increase in power. Now, they did 3 special editions where they increased the power. So the first one was the track only model, Sport 190, as far as I believe. Then they released this one, Sport 135, and I believe there was also an option to have your existing car upgraded to the power, but it wasn't the special edition, do you know what I mean? So it just had the power upgrades but wasn't the actual car. And then later on down the line was the Sport 160. All of the figures denote the horsepower of the car. However, it's believed that after they made the first 50 160s, I think the power dropped a little bit, whereas these are largely thought to be more powerful than 135 and thought to be more along the lines of 145, or at least that's what I've been told. It's very different to any car that I've driven because it's so light. You'd think 135 horsepower wouldn't do a lot, but let me tell you, I don't think there's many things, even modern, sticking with this car on a country road. Now, mechanical wise, how this car differs is, so Lotus took the Rover K series and reworked the head to allow everything to flow a little bit better. And also on this car, which the 160 didn't get, is they gave it a close ratio gearbox. So these little power gains and the close ratio gearbox combined basically means that in any gear, any revs, you can put your foot down and it'll go. Like, it's actually, considering if you look at the figures on paper for what it actually puts out compared with how it feels when you're in the car, you wouldn't think that those are the figures on paper that the car is, basically. You can always feel it pushing you down the road, the torque. Any gear, put your foot down, it'll go. And actually, to be honest, from everything I'd heard online and everything like that about Rover K series engines, I'm actually really impressed. Which just goes to show, don't believe everything you see online, because it's way better than I thought it was. This engine has character. It's hard to describe until you've driven one, but it has a ton of character. It sounds fantastic for a little 4-cylinder, and it's just like, honestly, driving the thing is like the funniest thing in the world. It's just amazing. Now, I've got upgraded brakes on this car, but what I believe from standard, I don't know if they were still on the MMC brakes, which are literally like, the brakes would last as long as the car when they produced these, but these have hard cross-drilled iron disc brakes on them. Being an early car as well, and this isn't specific to this model, it's just specific to Lotus Elises, is these are the lighter cars, and you can tell by, I believe it's the colour of the glue. So the glue on this car is green, a bit like an F40 to be honest. So the glue on this car is green, which denotes where the chassis was made. And then when they changed over to the orange glue, I think that's when they brought the manufacturing process over to the UK for the chassis. And I believe as well as the body is a lighter body. I think they made them a bit thicker as they got older again, but and so hopefully I think that's all the differences covered in an understanding of what my car is compared with the normal Elise, or compared with another special edition models that they did. I know they did somewhere, they left the power figures exactly the same and didn't touch the engine, but they did special edition paints. So I think there's one with a cream bottom and a red top, and then a black one with gold stripes, just all in homage to the motorsport pedigree that the car has. But yeah, this one I absolutely adore still. I hope you enjoyed my video, and I'll catch you next week. See you in a bit. Bye bye.